This one decision could completely change your retirement. Look, you've done the hard work, the savings, the planning, and it's almost time to retire. But here's the thing that nobody tells you. One more year really can make a bigger difference than the last 10. And here's what we're really talking about. One more year of saving, one more year of compound growth, delaying Social Security for a higher benefit, maybe even for life. And when you run the numbers, that 1 year could boost your retirement plan success by 10% or more. In this video, we're going to show you what that really means with real data, real strategy, and the real trade-offs. Because yes, the numbers might look great, but what about your energy, your health, your freedom, and most importantly, your peace of mind? What we're going to show today is a hypothetical client that wants to retire this year and their probability of success that doesn't look as good as it could be versus just waiting one more year. And in today's video, we're going to walk you through a potential client example and compare retiring this year versus waiting one more year and just how smoother of a ride that's going to be for their next 20 or 30. So now what we're going to go through is kind of the assumptions that we're using to build out some of these outputs. So what we've got is John and Jane's sample, about $1.5 million in retirement accounts. Jane's got $98,000 in Roth. John's got $354,000 in a rollover IRA. They've got a joint investment account about $300,000. They've got about $30,000 in savings. Both of them, since they're retiring this year, they still have about $400,000 and $325,000 each in a 401k that they'll eventually roll over. You can see they're both 64. They want to retire this year. And then we're going to show an example of them waiting one more year. We're modeling out their life expectancy till age 90. And these are all really outputs that are inputs that we can change on the fly as well, which we're going to show you. Their financial priorities is they want retirement planning, investment management, minimizing taxes, and they don't want to run out of money. So their goals are they want about $103,000 in retirement. And again, that's modeled out with also inflation. Income that they're going to get right now, they both are working, but then they each have about $65,000 of Social Security. So now what we're showing is their probability of success by them wanting to retire this year. And you can see it's about 81% probability of success. And what a Monte Carlo simulation is us taking all of your goals, your wealth, and in those retirement accounts, we're averaging about a 5% rate of return. So we're not, shooting for the stars, just a more conservative average. Most people change their risk level and investment strategy as they approach retirement. So for these folks, yeah, they can make it work. There's basically three outcomes when we run Monte Carlo simulations. There's the upside, which we never really count. That's saying that from now until their life expectancy, markets are going to be above average. Then you've got the medium. The medium saying is, if you look back at the last 25 or 30 years, the S&P 500 has been positive on average about 71% of the time. So 7 out of 10 years, we can, reasonably assume the S&P is going to be average, but, past results, you cannot predict the future on. But so then this downside one to me is the one that kind of bothers me a little bit is what if we have bad, more than average bad markets from now until they pass away? You can see that they're slowly running out of money. So essentially what we want to do is say, what if they were to wait one more year, just one more year? That means, you save more into your investment accounts, you delay Social Security another year, your investment accounts are getting another year's worth of return. You can see now that probability of success goes up about 10%. 91% is, I think for me as a financial advisor, and I've been helping people retire for 26 years, gives me a lot of confidence because what I want to make sure is that the worst case, and again, this is doing 1,000 different trials. The worst case scenario is that they're not running out of money, right? We have to, you want to hope for the best, but you have to plan for the worst when you're working with a client, especially when you're talking about their net worth. So that one more year takes their probability of success from 81% to 91%. And I think that's a really big deal. So let's build out a couple other scenarios. Let's just say, real time, they want a little bit more than $103,000 a year. Maybe they say, David, we actually want $120,000. How does that change? Oh, so that goes down. Like you can just see that much more money. But then we go, okay, are you willing to wait a couple years, delay Social Security, get it to your full retirement age, max that out, and maybe $130,000 just might be a little, or $120,000. We kind of got to find the sweet spot. And this is what we do for our clients. And a good financial advisor should have the type of software and technology that really just models out so many different situations. So you shouldn't come into retirement. So there you go, waiting an extra year. So we'll say 2 more years, but you want more money. And really around that 91%, I think is really kind of where you want to be. mean, not to say that, look, if you wanted to retire this year and you were like, hey, I hate work, or, I think what's important is that really we want to model out, or not model out, is how's your health? Because I think health dictates a lot. I can't tell you enough times that I've seen a client work that extra year and then, all of a sudden a health scare came up and they really didn't get the 15 or 20 years that they wanted to retirement. So I think the thing here is like by working one extra year, you can see the impact that this has on your overall retirement picture. Social Security is going to be a little bit bigger. You're going to contribute another year to your retirement accounts, save a little bit more money, and then your investment accounts get another year's worth of return. That has a huge impact overall on the last 20 or 30. So one more year for the next 20 or 30 to look the way that you want to. I think that's definitely a discussion that you should be having. I also understand the emotional impact that working one more year has, right? Maybe the work environment is really stressful. Your health isn't that great. Then I think what's really important is that we watch this closely, and maybe you have to redo your budget a little bit and say, hey, maybe it's not $103,000 that we're going to live off of. Maybe we have to do $95,000 and just kind of go from there. I think life expectancy, quality of life, we've had a lot of clients who've really negotiated their last year of retirement where they're working part-time from home. So it's almost like they're retired, they're almost kind of test driving it. And I think what's really important is that you have hobbies and, a purpose as you're approaching retirement. Because I think some people, they identify with work, and when they go into retirement, then they don't have the hobbies or the relationships that they need to kind of give them the best time in retirement so that you stay busy, you stay active, and you also have a purpose. Now, for these folks that want to retire at age 65, and they're like, no, David, 103,000 is the number. I don't want to work another year. My health isn't great. Then you might have to look at potentially trim discretionary spending, maybe reduce your travel budget. There's always adjustments that can be made. Doing a real audit on your budget, making sure you understand what's necessary versus, what's discretionary, and really having those conversations with yourself. Because the one thing you don't want to do is run out of money or leave your spouse in a situation where, the first 10 years of your retirement were fine and you guys did everything, but something happens to one spouse and the surviving spouse really is compromising their lifestyle, because you got to consider things like long-term care and healthcare as you get into your mid to late 80s and 90s and what those costs are going to be. You never really want to redline your retirement spending, because you never know down the line when you may need more money. If you're curious about how we help people protect what matters most in their retirement, and you just want to see how our process works for you, give us a call or visit our website at www.bamadvisorygroup.com. You can schedule a 15-minute, no cost, no obligation, no pressure phone call with one of our advisors to get all of your questions answered, to understand your options, and for us to be able to provide you with more information and clarity. And if you're enjoying the show, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you all real soon.